Scott Burnside, ESPN.com, alongside Pierre LeBrun, United Center, Chicago. All right, back in September, who did you pick to win the Stanley Cup 2015, my friend?
Oh, and I know how much it just eats at you to give me props. Yes, indeed. Pick the Blackhawks. I mean, listen, a lot of people did, but
well, it is all about you, except tonight, when it's all about Chicago and the Chicago Blackhawks. Third Stanley Cup championship in 6 years. Gary Bettman, the NHL commissioner, came onto the ice along with the Stanley Cup and said, essentially, Chicago, you got yourself a dynasty. I'm not sure what a dynasty is exactly, but the Chicago Blackhawks stand alone in terms of elite franchises in the NHL. What do you make of this team coming off this 2-0 victory over Tampa to secure the victory this year?
Well, first of all, in the cap era, it is a dynasty because it's so hard to keep a team together. I think the reason they've been successful, even though they only have 8 returning players from that 2010 Cup, the first one, is the leadership core, led by Jonathan Toews and Brent Seabrook and Duncan Keith. Those guys have set the culture in this dressing room where there are ways that you do things. Remember when Steve Yzerman and Nick Lidstrom set the tone in Detroit for many years as to how you do things, how you win. Players that were brought in started acting like those guys. That's what Chicago has developed here, the best culture in the NHL. Everyone comes in here and follows along.
Patrick Sharp saying afterwards on the ice tonight, there is no better place to play in the NHL. The Chicago Blackhawks, will be interesting to see whether Patrick Sharp returns.
Right.
As GM Stan Bowman has his hands full this summer, what to do with the salary cap, how to keep the turnover going, how to keep this team competitive. We know one player who will be back next year. Absolutely incredible this playoff year, Duncan Keith, Conn Smythe Trophy winners, playoff MVP. I was a bit disappointed. I think he took 2 shifts off or something in this game because he was incredible. Scored the game winner, solidifying a unanimous vote for playoff MVP. What do you say about Duncan Keith?
31 minutes a night over 2 months. Look like he can still play another 3 games in the next 4 days. It's incredible what a workhorse that he is. And, you know, to be that impactful at both ends of the ice and not feel tired and not zap into your energy levels, it's unbelievable. And I spoke to his father on the ice afterwards, and he said he's so proud of his son. He remembers his son being just a small, skinny kid who finally filled into himself, wasn't drafted by a junior club in Canada, and here he is winning the Conn Smythe. His father a little overcome with emotion.
Well, before we close our discussion here tonight, we have to give props to the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is a 6-game series. The only time in 6 games where there was a 2-goal lead was a goal scored by Patrick Kane late in the third period. Lightning absolutely banged up. Ben Bishop, groin injury. Obviously players not playing at their full health, but still kept this incredibly close. It's going to be a long summer for Steven Stamkos, though. Did not score in the final series, had a breakaway during the game when it was still scoreless, could not get it to go. Still, this is a Tampa team that we're not done hearing from, I think.
Yeah, Stamkos, right after the game, I looked down and he was bent over in agony. He's going to be very hard on himself. Victor Hedman went over to pat him on the back. I mean, listen, this team is going to be back, and the next time they're back, they're going to win. There's a lot of talent here. They will have learned a lot of important lessons along this route. In a cap world, it is hard to keep everything together, but they're going to have a couple more shots here before they have tough decisions, and I do think the Tampa Bay Lightning achieved an incredible amount here over the last 2 months. No reason to hang their heads.
True. Never hang my head when I'm with you, my friend, especially given how your prognostications came true. Last fall, you picked the Chicago Blackhawks to emerge on top, and that's exactly what happened here on this night in Chicago. We hope you'll stay with ESPN.com for all of your NHL coverage. For Pierre LeBrun, I'm Scott Burnside.